how's it going, guys? So there's a lot of cheap monitors coming out. This one goes for 130 bucks. But the question is, are these off-brands actually worth it? And that's something I want to find out for myself. Now, the company did send this out, which I do appreciate. The one thing that's a little odd to me is the hertz rate. 100 hertz refresh rate is something I've never really seen before, let alone used. I mean, there is 75. So maybe the more the merrier, but I want to see it for myself, especially the picture quality. Here's everything that comes in the box, and the stand doesn't look like it's anything too big, but this is actually kind of nice because it'll make it easier to fit in my monitor stand that's on my desk. So here's the monitor itself. It's actually a lot wider than I expected it to be. Not too thick, but there is kind of a bump in the back here. I believe on the back here, these are for the VESA mounts. I could be wrong though. And then on the bottom, you have this little area to put the stand on. Then underneath that is where you have all your ports and buttons. You've got just one HDMI port, one VGA port, and audio port, along with a DC port to plug it in for power, and then all your buttons are located here. To set up the stand, you first have to get these two pieces, and then just take the screw along with the tool that it comes with and just put it inside. Once the screw is tight on there, you can just slide this in, and there should be a little click. You're good to go. That click up here is, you can actually push it down to unlock as well, but you have to use some kind of a little bit of force to take it out, but not much putting it in. So here's what the monitor actually looks like on my setup. On video it looks smaller than expected, but sitting down in person, being a little bit more close up, it's actually a lot bigger, and it still fits on the top here, which is really important to me, so I'm glad it does that. Now the bezels on the side don't look super thin. The bottom is a little thicker than the sides and top, I want to say, but it's all good. And this has a brightness of 250 nits, so that's really nothing impressive, honestly. That's like your standard, maybe a little lower than standard too. I have to double check on that. Granted, right now I don't see any problem with this because it's nighttime. During the daytime I'm able to view this as well, but I do have to keep my blinds like covering this so that the sun doesn't reflect on it. I guess that makes sense. That might be normal, but just something you should be aware of. Since this is on a monitor riser, one fortunate thing is that this can be tilted down by about 5 degrees or tilted back by about 20 degrees. In the menu settings, there's quite a few different options to pick from, starting off with, I guess brightness, contrast, and they have their own presets here. If you want to go into standard, FPS, RTS photo, movie, game, or you can go all the way back, go to other settings, and choose the HDR mode in auto or 2084, and you'll definitely notice a difference here. Like 2084 looks much more vibrant, and almost like the contrast is a little higher. Most people will not have an issue with reaching this to any device. The sound you're hearing is actually emitting from the monitor. That's kind of nice to see because usually when I check out monitors, they do have these speaker settings, but they don't really work. Granted, it's nothing crazy, right? Like, it's pretty kind of tinny, not too sharp in sound. I mean, the mids, it's just going to sound flat. That's what I'm trying to say. But it's better to have it than not. Now, when it comes to HDR mode, what I hadn't set up initially, which was a 2084, was such an overkill. It just did not look good. But with HDR auto turned on, it actually looks kind of decent. And with the 2084, it's just like everything just looks too red, and there's just way too much contrast, so I don't like this one at all. Gaming on here seems to be pretty interesting. There's an 8 millisecond response time, so it's nothing crazy. So it's really not too impressive for gaming, especially if you're going to be competitive. 100 Hertz does help because you get a 100 FPS, because that's what I'm getting pretty consistently for the most part, but there is some noticeable screen tearing, and I don't know if you can notice it too well on video, but yeah, screen tearing is there, and that's just an unfortunate thing to deal with. It's probably the worst part about this, and I wish it had a better response time. That's my only other gripe. Overall, this seems like a decent choice to pick up, not necessarily just for gaming, but all arounder. And plus, for the price it's going for, it's pretty cheap. Right now you can grab it for 130 bucks with the coupon code. And Usually, I think back then, monitors like this were much more expensive. This also feels like it's widescreen, even though I believe it's a 16:9 aspect ratio. Anyways, I'll have links down below as to where you can get this. And leave a like if you found this video helpful and subscribe for more. As always, thanks for watching.